Continuing with the last section of our overview of counties of England, we are still in the southwest. So the next county is Somerset. Somerset with the main city of Bath, the city which is one of the most beautiful and interesting cities of England, with a very long history going back to the Roman times, and actually even before that, because the mineral springs, hot springs that were discovered in Bath were used even before the Romans. When Romans invaded Britain, they basically took over the already existing healing temple, because this was a religious site. This was not, let's say, a pleasure spa. This was a religious healing temple. And the Romans just took it over. They built their own temple with the baths, with the pools there. They took the local goddess called Sulis and called her Minerva Sulis. So just as the Romans normally did, was to take over the local cults, local places, and basically incorporate them into Roman culture. The city of Bath enjoyed another great period of popularity and wealth in the 18th century. I mentioned already while I was talking about Cheltenham, which is not that far away, as you can see, but Bath became once again fashionable place for the rich people to take the holidays, to go to take the waters for the healing properties of the waters. And in the 18th century, the baths were restored, and a lot of new residential areas were built or remodeled to house the rich people coming to Bath to take the holidays. The most beautiful, the most spectacular one from the 18th century is the Royal Crescent. It's this kind of semicircular row of houses. Thank you. In the city of Bath. From one side, from the side of this square, this kind of semicircular crescent-shaped square, it looks like the facade of a great palace. It's very unified. But from the back, and this photograph shows it quite well, from the back, each of the houses is different. So one side very unified and providing this kind of beautiful palace-like facade. The back more individualized, catering for the individual needs of the people. It's not the only place of interest in Somerset. This is one of the places of beautiful national parks. Exmoor National Parks. The moors, as the name suggests, are hills with some sort of heathers and small vegetation. There is Exmoor and Dartmoor. Somerset, as you can see, this is like the very beginning of the Cornwall Peninsula, and those moors are quite characteristic for the nature, for the landscape of Cornwall. Another interesting place is the town of Glastonbury, connected with King Arthur. This is the place rumored to be the final resting place of King Arthur. There is a medieval tower called Glastonbury Tor, which is supposed to be on the place where King Arthur and Queen Guinevere were buried. This is, according to the legend, a mystical place, a place with some sort of mystical connection to the other world, to the world of legend, to the world of Avalon. I've never been there. This is one of the places I would like to visit, definitely. Now it's populated, at least partially, by some people looking for spiritual things. So you have a lot of this kind of new age vibe to it, but it's all taken from the Arthurian legends. And generally, if we talk about King Arthur, this is really the stories, the legends of Cornwall Peninsula. So all the counties here in the west of England, there is this aura of mysticism, there is this aura of spirituality as well. Next county is the county of Dorset, with Bournemouth, Shaftesbury, and Dorchester. Dorchester is a very interesting town with a literary connection. If you are fans of 19th century novel, especially later 19th century novel, you are probably familiar with Tess of the D'Urbervilles and other other novels by Thomas Hardy. And Thomas Hardy lived and situated much of the literature that he wrote around Dorchester. So the stories there are basically derived from the landscape, from the people, from the rural areas, from this aura of mysticism. If you remember, the very last scene of Tess of the D'Urbervilles is situated in Stonehenge. So, yeah. Other novels like Far from the Madding Crowd or Return of the Native, they are all situated there. Maybe not exactly Dorset, but the west of England, the areas around, let's say, Dorset and especially Dorchester. There is a lot of interesting nature as well, especially the area called the Jurassic Coast, with some spectacular rock formations like Durdle Door here. And the name Jurassic Coast is not coincidental. This was the area with a lot of paleontological interest, so fossils. This is the area where geological research was done ever since basically the 18th century, the 19th century. A lot of fossil expeditions and the discoveries there. Two more counties in Cornwall. One is Devon, with the cities of Exeter, Plymouth, and Torbay. Plymouth is one of the great ports, so there we have the view of the harbor in Plymouth. This is the area with again Dartmoor National Park. So the rugged and wild areas of nature. This is the area again with quite a lot of literary interest. If you remember the story by Arthur Conan Doyle with Sherlock Holmes the mystery of the Hound of the Baskervilles. This is situated there in Devon. So those moors and the mysteries and the ghosts and all the spooky stuff connected with the local legends. This was one of the Celtic lands, one of the original Brittonic lands. We will talk later on today about the history of Britain and historical maps, but this was one of the places with the longest, let's say, Celtic Brittonic presence. So Devon, and of course Cornwall. Cornwall is the name of the entire peninsula, but also this county at the end of it. So the town of Truro, Falmouth, and St. Ives, and also this little cape at the very end of the peninsula called Land's End, quite self-explanatory. The town of St. Ives is quite famous. This was a little fishing village, but towards the end of the 19th century and in the early 20th century, it started to attract artists, and it became a kind of artists' colony. Now they have their own branch of Tate Museum, and this was the area with a lot of artistic interest, especially in the interwar period. Generally, this is something interesting I wanted to show you as well. An old poster by one of the railway companies, the Great Western Railway, encouraging people to visit Cornwall for holidays. This is the place that becomes fashionable for holiday makers because of the beaches, because of the warm weather, and actually here it is compared to Italy. As you can see, the shape, climate, and natural beauties of Cornwall are compared to the similar attractions of Italy. Probably not exactly. Italy is definitely larger and I would say more varied than Cornwall, but this was one of the ways of attracting people to go there to visit, and it's still quite popular with holiday makers wanting to go away from the city. The last one here is a little archipelago just off the coast of Cornwall and Land's End, the Isles of Scilly. Scilly Islands, a group of small islands. One of the, I think this is the place situated farthest to the south, perhaps with the exception of the Channel Islands. I would have to look at the map and locate the Channel Islands really here, but I guess the Scilly Islands might even be further to the south, and definitely they are the only place in Britain where palms grow naturally. So here we have this nice photograph with the palms and cultivation of flowers. So this is the way to use this good climate and warm weather. So that's it. We have covered the entire area of England. In the next 2 weeks, we'll talk about the other regions, and then we'll probably have some sort of bigger quiz, like a midterm test or something. And for the remaining part of this week's class, I would like to talk with you about something different. That is the historical maps of the UK. So see you in a moment.